intersection points where you can talk about what he was looking at. He looked back at art history, and he was fueled by medieval art, by Byzantine art. He looked at African art, but he was also looking at the artists of his time. So he was a friend and colleague with Stuart Davis. He was aware of the work of Mondrian and Matisse and Picasso and Braque.
And these are all serious modernists of the day, Europeans and European Americans who were, yes.
But he was also looking and participating with his colleagues within the African American community, like Hale Woodruff and Richard Mayhew and Reginald Gammon.
Elizabeth Catlett, perhaps.
All of these artists. And so not only was he looking at and exchanging creative dialogue with, but he was working with them to establish institutions, as I referenced before, like the Cinque Gallery in New York, which was an institution very unique in its time, given that it was focused primarily on support for African American artists and women who were not able to access mainstream museums and galleries.
Because even in New York, even in such a progressive place as New York City, there was still certain biases that limited the ability to do business.
Across the country. If you think about what the 60s was like for people of color in the United States, it's the same issue of we want access, we're excluded from the mainstream, we don't have our own galleries, and so Bearden recognized this and was at the forefront of this idea of we will create our own institution. That's why the Studio Museum in Harlem. That's why Cinque Gallery. That's
understanding the power of leadership as well. Not just that I'm an artist, I'm a thinker, but I am also a leader within this community.
Oh, absolutely. Bearden was that and so much more. It would take hours to really talk about what the significance of this artist, to American culture and frankly to world culture. This exhibit that we are blessed to have here at the Museum of the African.
What's the title of the exhibit, by the way?
Process to Print, Graphic Works by Romare Bearden. And I titled it that when I was the president and CEO of the Romare Bearden Foundation in New York. This is where this exhibition germinated.
Okay, and what time frame would that have been?
Let's see now, that's about a year and a half ago. 2 years. Almost 2 years. Because, and we organized this exhibit, called it From Process to Print, because we wanted to take our audience through this idea that an artist's product isn't really just the final thing or the
end result.
The end result.
Right.
What we need to understand is what an artist goes through in producing what he does, the creative process, the changes, the corrections, the reassessment, the reevaluation of whether this is the direction. Bearden is interesting that way because he tended from his collages, which he is considered a master. I consider him a master printmaker as well for a number of reasons. One is in part because he pushed the envelope constantly. He always experimented and innovated and was creative beyond the boundaries of the medium. And so in a show like this, which includes 84 objects. 84. Yes, and that includes the prints, different types, holographs and etchings.
And some plates as well, I think I saw.
And that's the thing.
Which is very unusual, yes.
Well, we wanted to do that because that was the best way to be able to demonstrate how an artist in a particular medium how he worked and how he crafted the object. We don't have the tools of the carving of the plate or the etching of the plate, but we wanted to show that Bearden took one image often. Sometimes it was the same subject or theme from his collages, and he would transfer that into the print medium and he would work it and rework it, moving parts, keeping some elements, taking some things off the surface, scraping the surface, painting on the surface.
And you can really see that. Yeah, you can see that even in the two-dimensional work. Exactly. You see all of this layering and all sort of a collage effect, even though it's a two-dimensional piece.
Absolutely. Well, in his collagraphs in particular, where these are the cutout cardboards, you can really see the collage medium, how it's layered upon layer upon layer. But Bearden was interesting because the motifs that interested